Hi guys! I don't normally cover the official global DFFOO livestream, but of course in this case where there was an announcement on the 5th anniversary global first, I decided to make an exception this time and do a quick video covering my thoughts on the GL first release, as well as some of the associated content with the global 5th anniversary. Since there were also some sites covering the upcoming events beyond the global 5th anniversary, I'll also combine my pool plans for the next arc on this video as well. As always, you can use the timestamp in the video description to skip ahead to the section that you're interested in. Few disclaimers before we begin. Firstly, of course, most of the sites that you will soon see are not mine. They were taken or screen grabbed directly from the global livestream. Secondly, I will be talking about the GL first character associated with the 5th anniversary. So in case you still do not know what is the 5th anniversary release and you do not want to know, warning that there will definitely be spoilers ahead. Finally, as always, and it goes without saying that this video covers my thoughts and opinions only, and of course is skewed and biased towards my general approach and how I like to play this game. First off, a little bit about the two special content that's released with the global 5th anniversary, the first being Dare to Defy and the second being Crevasse. We finally get Dare to Defy 2 with this event. And for those not aware, Dare to Defy is a series of 7 stages, each stage corresponding to the Shinryu level event that's released alongside it. For example, when Divine Ramo Spiritus will be released with Ash, the boss there will also be one of the stages, or one of the 7 stages in the Dare to Defy event. The main difference in Dare to Defy versus regular Shinryu stages is that across the 7 series of stages, there are character lockouts, meaning that once you use a character in one of the 7 stages, you no longer can use that same character in the other remaining 6 stages. Beyond that, the stages remain essentially the same as their Shinryu counterparts that are released. One good thing that's changed in this Dare to Defy versus the last is that once you complete the Dare to Defy stage, you will also get an auto-complete on a Shinryu counterpart. In the past, you actually had to complete both. And I really like this change, because essentially otherwise you'd be doing the same stage twice. In the past, the first Dare to Defy was hotly debated, I have to say, because the first Dare to Defy was released right at the start of the Shinryu era, where FR weapons were scarce. This time, however, of course, unless you are a totally new player, you should have enough FR weapons to comfortably speed across all 7 stages. And Dare to Defy lasts all the way to the middle of March as well, so you don't have to rush to complete this event. You can sort of wait until more events gets released within this time frame and use characters from those events to complete the Shinryu stages here. I also really like that you will get a special badge upon perfect completion of all 7 stages. Yes, it's only a cosmetic thing, it doesn't really affect the gameplay, but hey, at least it's something that you get that's actually displayable, that shows what you've achieved in this game. The second event that's coming will be the Crevasse event. Crevasse event is also sort of like a lockout event, but the main difference here is that you actually get to select restrictive codes to set for each Crevasse event. The codes can only be used once throughout, so you can't use the same code across more than one stage, and the more restrictive the code, the more points that you can get. The goal is to set enough of the codes so that you meet a minimum threshold of points in order for you to claim all the rewards associated with this event. One thing that's changed in this particular Crevasse event is that there are now going to be 2 difficulties, normal and hard difficulty, and I really love this change. I think this is one of the good signs to show that the developers were really listening to feedback from the last Crevasse event. Because honestly, for veteran players where you have a wide roster of characters, having a Cosmos or Chaos stage is really very simple. The Cosmos stage can be defeated just by using a Cyan LD call ability, for example. And having 2 difficulties means that there's at least something for everyone. Even for newcomers, you should at least be able to complete some of these stages, and for veterans, that will then at least be a harder challenge for you to try to tackle. And similar to Dare to Defy, there will also be status badges corresponding to the difficulty that you've completed, which is also something that I really like. Overall, both this content represents something extra, and it's really good bonus because you can unlock a ton of free goodies across both events. And for content creators such as myself, it gives us the opportunity to create content surrounding very challenging events and stages. Before diving into the GL 5th Anniversary exclusive character, I just want to quickly mention about this particular slide. There's going to be a repeat of the Start Dash Draw banner. I guess not really a repeat, more like a reset. Personally, my advice is to really just skip this banner altogether. It's not really worth your gems and tickets, especially since there's a ton of very good banners that's coming up right after this as well. Lightning did recently receive a rework, but even with that, she's not really top tier, sad to say. And the way her kit works doesn't really jive very well with the Force era. Cloud will soon get a rework, but you might as well just pull him on the banner where he gets his rework on. And same with Squall as well. Squall will get a rework in the near future where he'll actually be pretty good, but why not just pull from him then? Some might say that you can just pull for these characters now and you can save the resources for later. And of course, if you did get any of their gear for free, then that's a really good bonus, but I don't really like the idea of spending gems and tickets pulling for characters and not really using them. Even for new players, if you recently started the game, I think it's probably a better idea to spend your limited gems and tickets on the Luna, Freya and Kain banner, which is still live on the time of this video. And of course, spend your remaining gems and tickets on the GL 5th Anniversary character. With that said, let's move on to the actual 5th Anniversary character. This video is also not mine, this is the actual 5th Anniversary teaser video that's released. So credits to Square Enix and Team Ninja. And as you can see, the global 5th Anniversary exclusive will be the early release of Penelo's FR and BT. What you see here first is her BT Plus finisher, and it looks like you get 8 turns of BT Aura upon using her BT Plus, which I think is really nice. 8 turns is to me a sweet spot. It's not too low, something like Seed Rings where it's really limited, and you get enough leeway to play around with it. Penelo's FR is also really very good, and I'll talk more about it in the next few slides, but it's really nice to see here that she pairs with Edward for her FR animation, one being a bard and the other being a dancer. Really nice overall. Penelo also gets a new costume from Final Fantasy Tactics A2, I believe. Not too sure, I haven't played that particular game, but I really like her new costume. Honestly, in my opinion, her original costume looks kinda dull, and this costume really pops out. Something that's really amazing, as you can see here, is that using her S1 or S2 will give you plus 125% to her force gauge, which is same as currently the best force gauge charger in global, which is Hope. Finally, upon getting her PT Aura, she gains access to a converted HP attack that seems to deal quite a lot of damage. With that said, let's look deeper into her kit. As mentioned, Penelo gets access to a new FR and BT weapon, and she also gets a rework upon the 31st of January. And there will be a new costume released alongside the weapons as well. First off, a look into the rework that she gets. I won't go through into details on the numbers because that's all on the slide. You can always pause the video and have a look. Suffice it to say, in short, both her EX and LD gets a rework, boosting the damage. it looks kind of like a standard rework that all characters get when they actually get a rework. You get extra HP dumps, you get a little bit more oomph in the attack, and this means that her EX and LD is brought up to par with the current meta. Her overhead also gets a rework as well, which further boosts the support auras that she gives, and that's really a good thing because her primary role in the party is as always an aura bot support. One thing that a lot of people I think will underestimate is one of the rework now gives her the ability to start the fight, granting the party a speed up buff including herself. Before this rework, Penelo actually starts the battle with 0 buffs, and naturally she is actually somewhat of a slow character, and this means that normally she starts last in turn order and sometimes even after the enemy turns. With this speed up buff though, it at least ensures that she will most likely start the battle earlier on in the turn order and at the very least before the enemies get to act. And for someone who also has the role of a force gauge charger, the earlier you start the battle, the better it is. My hope is that with this speed up aura, she has the potential to actually start first in turn order. That would be ideal. I don't know whether that will actually be the case or not. It still of course requires testing. Her converted HP attacks, which is the attacks that she gets access to after using her S1 or S2, also gets rework. And I must say the one associated with her Roomba step, which is the more offensive stance that she has, looks decently powerful for its support. It's a 5 HP dump attack, which although there are of course characters with that many dumps and sometimes more, don't forget that this comes from a converted HP attack and not a skill use, and this comes from a character whose primary role is supposed to be support. This means that Penelo after rework would deal at least decently if not good damage output. And I say all this before even getting to details about her BT release. Coming to her force ability, Liberty's Minasang, I hope I pronounced it correctly. I must say it is a pretty good FR. First off, upon use, it removes your party's debuffs, it heals your entire party, it batteries your entire party, it restores 1 use of her S1 and S2, and is an instant turn rate attack. Essentially, just hitting her FR would turn the tides of battle and ensure that your entire party is back at fighting shape. But it doesn't end there. Her force bonuses is also really top tier in my opinion. First off, she starts force time at 150%. There are a few other characters that can do this, such as Ares and Minwoo, but starting at 150% is still a very rare thing in the era. Most characters' force time actually starts at 120%. She has 3 force conditionals, and if you can hit all 3, you will get plus 70% at least. And while plus 70% might seem sort of average, don't let the numbers fool you because her force conditionals are extremely easy to meet. So in terms of force conditionals, she sort of falls into the category of general force conditionals such as Liud or Iroha or Hope. The first conditional really only requires you to have your party with 10 or more buffs when you end your turn. The second conditional requires you to have Brave restored at the start of your turn, which you will get from her Brave regen. And the third conditional requires you to have HP restored at the start of your turn, which you get from her HP regen. While plus 70% a turn is not the highest FR percentage gain currently in the game, the fact that you are essentially guaranteed plus 70% regardless which party member takes their turn is in my mind a very good thing to have and something that not many FRs can give you. Also, you saw in the teaser video that Penelo can plus 125% the force bonus on her turn by using her S1 and S2. That's because her S1 and S2 has the ability to plus 50% the force bonus when they are used. So in conjunction with the 3 force conditionals here, they will total up to plus 125%, and this is equivalent to currently the best force gauge charger in the game, which is Hope. And this also means that if you do not really need the defensive utility that Hope brings to the party, then more or less Penelo is probably the better unit to use. Finally, coming to Penelo's BT, and her BT finisher is called Resplendence. Her Resplendence really acts very similar to how her EX acts, which is it does brave damage without being able to break the enemy. It doesn't consume her own brave upon use, and it grants her BT effect for 8 turns in total. Her BT effect is really quite decent overall. It gives her the additional brave gain, overflow, brave damage limit, and HP damage, and importantly another plus 30% HP damage limit. Don't forget that Penelo's high armor, assuming that it's fully maxed out, gives you another 20%, so just by having Penelo with a BT aura up gives you plus 50% HP damage limit up. If you combine the auras from Penelo's BT effect together with her usual aura bot support, this means that Penelo is a very offensive oriented aura bot. On top of this, as shown in the teaser video, upon use of her BT, she gets access to a transform HP attack called Fatal Dance, in a way very similar to how Makina's BT works. This is a one-hit melee brave plus HP done 7 times. On top of this attack also deals 50% splash HP damage per HP dump. It batteries your entire party, it heals your entire party, it also fills her own recast gauge by 20%, and it also buffs the entire party as well with her signature buffs. In comparison, Makina's Furious Blade's burst attack also is 7 HP dumps, but of course he does a bit more damage considering that he has his Spiral Linchpin finisher and Penelo does not. But the fact that Penelo as an aura bot support can come very close in damage and at the same time deal splash damage, which is something that Makina cannot do beyond his Spiral Linchpin, and her attack also batteries the entire party, heals the entire party and buffs the entire party, is really bonkers. Don't forget also that Makina's primary role is a damage dealer and Penelo's role is actually more of an aura bot support, but the fact that even though she's more of a supportive role, her damage comes very close to someone who is top tier in damage is a testament to how powerful she can be. So putting all things together, my thoughts on Penelo from what has been shared so far. She's really going to be one of the best offensive aura bot supports in the game. On top of this, she brings very strong damage with her rework EX LD and her new Fatal Dance HP attack. And she is also a very strong FR user, charger, and hypercharger. Now normally I am not a fan of jack of all trades, master of none, but in Penelo's case she isn't really a jack of all trades. She's sort of very close to master of all trades. And the fact that she fulfills many roles excellently, she brings a very easy to fulfill FR conditional, means that she is an extremely flexible character, and you can probably throw her on virtually any team that you can think of and she will make that particular team shine. Something that is particularly valuable when it comes to lockout events such as Dare to Defy or Crevasse. Also, something that I haven't mentioned yet but I think really deserves special mention. Beyond the fact that Hope does of course have defensive capabilities, it appears that Penelo is otherwise superior to Hope. And for those that missed Hope, I would definitely recommend pulling for Penelo because she will then enable the Penelo and Anna Crow combo. I guess for want of a better word, you can call it the Penelo Crow era. And if you did have Anna Crow with her EX and LD, then this is a strong combo that will likely enable you to complete many Shinryu stages. If past GL anniversary exclusives is used as a precedent, then for all signs and signals, Penelo is really a must pull because GL first exclusives in anniversary events always have been shown and proven over time to be very worthy investments. On this part of the video, I'll be covering a little bit about my pool plans, and I'm doing it here because it seems that they've changed things a little bit in the GL side as compared to the JP side. For example, right here it seems that Jessie will be brought up a little bit earlier. She was originally meant to come in the next arc, which is during Dark Knight Cecile's arc. Jessie is a utility character with the ability to turn delay and turn manipulate your party. I'm not too sure about how good she is, given that I don't play the JP version of the game, but to me, utility characters hold a lot of value, especially turn manipulation characters. So for that reason, I'm probably leaning towards pulling for Jessie. Also, in terms of timeline, this is the next banner after the GL exclusive banner, so if I went for Penelo FR and I didn't score her BT, for example, then I'm definitely going to be pulling on this banner in order to try to score Penelo's BT along the way. If I did score Penelo's BT already, there's also a secondary banner here featuring Snow's BT, and I also do not have Snow's BT, so there's a lot of incentive for me to pull anyway. Currently, I'm sort of 70% pulling, and the 30% is just my reservations just in case I overspend on, or I have to overspend on Penelo's banner. Next up is Size. Size is actually one of my regrets so far in this game because I actually skipped her during her debut. She's actually really decent overall, given that she has the ability to land sort of like a ace-like trap where it ticks down regardless of which action or which field unit takes an action, and the trap damage scales with force bonus percentages as well, so she fits in very nicely in the current era. She also shines in 6-man events because you can use her to land her trap and then swap her out for another character and her traps will still tick every single turn. So this time around, I'm definitely going for her. I may only just pull until I score her LD. I'm still very highly debating whether or not I should pick up her FR, mainly because high power stones are still a very rare commodity, and it's a very high likelihood that I'll have to spend quite a few high power stones on Penelo. So most likely I'll just pull for Size up till her LD, and if I get her FR it's all good, but if not then I'll just stick with her LD. Next event after that seems to be the World of Illusion Spiritus Ramo, featuring the release of Ash FR and BT. This is going to be a rather challenging event, as is all World of Illusions, and there should also be a corresponding Dare to Defy event or fight along with this. However, even with that, I will most likely skip this banner. I already have all of Ash's gear up to her LD, and I don't really have a lot of interest in her FR or BT weapon. It's also a shame because Penelo would have been released at this point, and given the fact that Ash is also an aura bot support, while they do of course do different things, it's very hard to justify a spot for Ash in your regular team or in a team that you will most commonly use when there is already Penelo. Finally, we have the Heretic event with Struggle FR being released. And to me, out of all these events, this is probably the easiest skip. I'm 99% sure I'm gonna skip this event. Don't really have a lot of interest in the Struggle. Struggle excels in AoE magic DPS. And really at this point, I feel that my DPS units in my roster is highly varied. I'm very comfortable with who I have. And I don't really see a lot of need for Struggle, especially his FR. I already do have all his other weapons up to his LD anyway. On top of this, I actually dismantled my 5/5 staff ultimate weapon in order to create a 5/5 ultimate weapon dagger for Penelo. So that actually makes this an even easier skip. That will actually be it for this video. It's gone on for quite long already. I know there are actually more slides covered in the live stream, and I'll give a link in the video description to it as well. I'm not actually going to be covering the other events beyond this because I normally cover my plans up to the next arc only. Closer to middle of February, I will of course be releasing another of my pool plans video covering the Dark Knight Cecile arc, so stay tuned for that. As always, I hope the video has been helpful, and if you enjoyed the content, do leave a like, comment or subscribe. It really helps a lot. Till then, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!